Hey everybody, thanks for sticking around. You are here for the new release rundown. We're joined by Ethan from Zulu's Board Game Cafe again.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, thanks for coming back. It's been a little bit, I think it's that I've seen you.
A little while, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you are back with a bunch of games
and
some news about Black Friday deals.
Yes. Yeah, lots of stuff. I'll just jump right into it, top of the show. If you haven't been to Zulu's Board Game Cafe, we're basically trying to do everything you need for gaming, and within food, beer, demo games, D&D, Magic, just everything you can think of that's tabletop related, miniatures even. So this year, just like everyone else, we're doing our Black Friday sales. Mm-hmm. We're trying to go bigger than we have ever gone, have more titles on sale. We're going to have the hot games, the new games, and all that stuff will be in the 20-25% range off. Mm-hmm. You'll have some older titles that are like on there. We got one or two left. We're trying to just rotate. There'll be like deeper discounts, maybe 40-50% off. You'll even have some that are maybe up to 70% off, just kind of cool stuff like that. We'll have some damaged games that are just sitting around. We don't really sell damaged games in our store, but we've amassed, I should say, some damaged games over the year. So we need to get rid of those. Those will be up to 40% off probably. Lots of stuff on sale.
So just like tons of discounts.
Tons of discounts.
So if you're in the area, and Zulu's is located?
We're in Bothell, Washington, in Washington, yeah.
So if you manage to survive the rest of the Black Friday melee, then swing by Zulu's for some discounts.
At Zulu's. We are going to open early, I believe. We're shooting for like a 8-9. This will all be posted. It's not 100% down. It's only a week away, right? So why wouldn't we be completely ready?
Yeah.
So we're trying to open early, like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. I will post that on our Facebook. If you don't follow us, please find us Zulu's Games on Facebook, or Zulu's Board Game Cafe. And then, on top of all that stuff, I'll also have a cash back thing. So if you spend at least $50 after discounts, you're going to get $5 cash back on a gift card, and then it's for every $10 you get $1 back. Mm-hmm. So you spend $100, you get $10 back, which you can immediately turn around and buy something else or buy food or whatever you want to do. Food is not included in the discount. That's the only thing. Everything else is included in this. Magic cards, Magic singles, D&D, all that stuff. D&D we're going to have a bunch of sales too. We have a lot of the bigger items on sale, like the Falling Starship, the Honorable Knight statue, the Kraken. Miniatures
the minis that
sale.
WizKids produce, basically?
Yeah, tons of WizKids minis. Books will be on sale. We have like combo bundles we're coming up with. Just a ton of stuff. We're trying to put together just like our biggest sale ever.
Great.
And honestly, I just want to say, like, we really appreciate our customers and that come to us and don't buy their games online, which they're clearly cheaper. But it's so important that the communities come and spend money at their local game store, wherever that may be, to keep us going and the fact that we are allowed to give back to the community and run these great events that is totally funded and supported by people that have been buying those games at us. So for us to be able to say, hey, look, here's a great chance to get some early Christmas shopping done at great values that are comparable to online is awesome. And
great.
We want to do as much as we can with that. We'll also have Funko calendars, advent calendars on sale just in time.
So are they going to have the little Funko?
They have little Funko. Yeah, they have 24 Funko guys. Advent starts December 1st, so I think Black Friday's on the 29th, so it's right in time. They'll be like $40, I think, for like they got a Marvel one, a Harry Potter one, and then we have a few Fortnites left. So that's a good chance to get your family those. Maybe you have a son who loves Marvel and a daughter who loves Harry Potter, or vice versa, and boom, easy. They're happy. The guys are really cool. There's like a Thanos in there. And
sweet.
I don't know what day he is, but I want him.
Sweet. So so we will have a show on Black Friday.
Okay.
And we'll recap the deals that all the different stores have then.
Yeah.
So just send us the details when you have those finalized, and we'll share them out again too.
Yeah. There's a lot to talk about, so I don't want to spend too much time on that, but I promise it'll be worth your time to come down to Zulu's.
Great. Well, what do you want to spend time on?
All these games. I brought the biggest and best spread ever. Games are kind of thin throughout up to summertime, before summertime.
Sure.
And now it's Christmas, it's shopping. Guess what? Let's release all our games at once.
Yep.
So this
what
week,
do you want to tackle first?
Let's talk about, let's just jump into this mystery house because it's right here.
Great.
It's one of the games I brought that I did not open up. And so you can't really play
My
with
wife just actually bought this and played
Good.
at least part of it, and she said it was very fun.
Yes, so it's the next iteration in it's Cranio Games. So you have your exits, you have your unlocks. This is like, let's step it up to the next level. So there's actually a house. I don't know if you can zoom in on the back. I didn't open this up because there are a lot of pieces that could give things away in the game. So we'll keep that sealed. There's actually a board that's about the size of the box. It comes right out. You place rooms together.
And when you say board, like you end up with actually like you build a little house with rooms and hallways and everything.
So it's like a 3D grid that's about the size of this box as is, with little, imagine there's a grid on there. And then you are trying to find objects. People recommend putting it at eye level, so stack it on some games or something, and you can spin the house around, shine your flashlight in there, and you're going through one of the 2 adventures that's included, and trying to solve that puzzle in under an hour using an app. So say you're in room K3 or whatever, and you see an item like a crowbar or something, you can see on your app there's a list of 20 items. You can be like, crowbar, cool, there it is. You get the card. You figure out how to use that crowbar, kind of like the old computer games.
So it kind of seems like it's almost like a puzzle box-esque thing.
Kind of is.
Because you have this physical, like you're basically taking this game. And it has all these doors in it, and you open some doors, close other doors. And then you're just looking into the board so that you can see through the hallway to see into the room to get the clues that you need.
So needs to be played in a well-lit room. You can use a flashlight. If your eyesight's not the best, it might be a little difficult for you to play, but that's why you have a group. It's cooperative, and you're all working together to try to beat the game with the app and beat it within an hour, solve it.
Yeah, like this was definitely one of the ones that was getting some buzz at Gen Con, because I think there may have been an early copy. I'm not sure if it was on sale, but I think Board Game Geek's Hot Game Room had at least 1 or 2 copies. And people were very excited talking about and playing through that game, and it was literally it was a table full of people. And they would just be like,
It does.
Do you see it?
Draw a crowd. It presents well.
Cool.
And much like the other escape room games, you can only play them once. There's 2 adventures in there. You can only play each one once, and then you'll know how it is. You'll know everything. But you can say, hey, now here, friend, you play this game, because you don't have to destroy anything.
Well, so if you need an app to run it, and use the same components for 2 adventures, have they said whether they're going to release more adventures through the app?
So I believe.
Is that possible?
Well, I think they'll have to. Yes, they'd have to release more adventures. So it comes with the 2, and those are each in their own box.
Okay. So there are components that are unique to that adventure.
Yes.
Okay.
But they can easily release more small boxes that have more adventures for whatever. I don't know how much they'd be, and then they just use the board to set them up.
Cool.
So you're buying this base. I have to imagine they plan on making more.
Have you had a chance to play it?
No, but I did get the chance to watch some people play it. And just watching them interact and get all in there, and it really makes people are standing up playing this game. No one's just sitting down, okay, I'm bored. Everyone is interactive and looking for clues, and people have their phone flashlights out.
Well, so how involved
Really
is
cool.
the app? I mean, because you said you can select what item you have, but does the app guide you through everything?
The app is like, so you're picking from basically a list of things, and I want to use this on this door or whatever you're trying to do. And that's determining if you get to go to the next room.
That really makes it sound like it's almost an old school adventure game, like on a computer game.
That's exactly it's a board game version of a computer game. So you got it wrong. Now you just lost time. And you can still complete the game over time, but you want to do it under an hour. So that's where it has the mechanic to where you can't just I'm just gonna push all the buttons until I get it right.
But it really does sound like you're playing like a old LucasArts adventure game.
Yeah, like
where you have an
point-and-click
inventory of crowbar and key, and you're like crowbar and wall, crowbar and key.
Yeah, and the more attempts you're doing, so you really want to get it right first, and you're just discussing with people.
So chat says that they looked up the Board Game Geek listing, and it did confirm that future expansions will come out, and we'll use the base box.
There you go. So that's Mystery House, highly recommended. And just as a quick thing, every game you see here today will be in our Black Friday sale. So
this is co-op.
This is co-op.
So theoretically, spite level is going to be low.
Yeah,
depending on who you play with.
Unless you lose and you're like, Tim, you were wrong when you said use crowbar on window.
Crowbar and window made perfect sense
You
at the
just
time.
broke the window for no reason. Well,
Yeah.
I thought there'd be something out there.
That window
you know?
looked at us wrong. So
I don't know.
The
Crowbar on couch. Who knows?
and so this would definitely seems like it'd be recommended for folks who did Escape, Unlock, the other kind of escape rooms in
Any
a
of
box.
those, yeah, exits, any of those. If you like escape rooms, you like the computer games, you just like figuring things out, this is going to be a great game for you. And also, this is a game, it says 14 plus, and I think that's more because of the mechanics of the game are difficult, but you can absolutely play this with your family and your kids. You just need someone understanding how to put it together.
tactile.
Exactly.
Great.
So that's Mystery House.
Awesome.
Yay. I don't know where you want to put that. Off the side. I don't want to block stuff.
We have too many games. So is that what we're gonna do? We're gonna eliminate, put them on the. So
Well, there's
get
so
fewer,
much.
Fewer,
I don't want to
fewer.
block them. Yeah, we're just going to eliminate them. Let's jump over here to Rome. This is one I actually just played by Red Raven Games, Ryan Lockett.
Yeah.
Dude's amazing.
I love his art. Oh, and there's art on the. That's a nice
art in the box.
It's a very pretty box.
So
there's art on the inside of it.
From a marketing perspective, I was blown away by this game because the box is great. The art is on everywhere, and it's like, oh my gosh, like it just draws you in. It's a cheap, relatively cheap game, and I open it up, and usually his games are massive, and they're like $60 around there.
It was actually the 8-Minute Empire games were the ones that got me to pay attention.
Sure. So I got in here, I read the rules in like 5 minutes, and I'm like, okay, this game is going to be too easy, might be kind of boring. Once we got into a couple turns and started figuring it out, we're like, this game is super fun and way deeper than I thought.
Oh, cool. So what's the stick then? Like, if it hid its complexity, what comes out when you get used to it?
So let's just grab. I don't want to go through a whole game, but basically there's starting characters, which
and it looks like it's his usual art style, his usual
totally his
collection
usual
of
art style.
characters.
The same world and all that stuff. I mean, he's kind of developed his own world, same above and below kind of stuff. Just every card has this like layout, this like Tetris-y looking layout, and they're all different.
Oh, that's right.
They're
This is
very
the one. This is the one where
basic.
you explore the regions.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
You claim spots, you mark them, and you can only if your guys are facing this direction, you can only put them exactly the way they look on your card. So you can't rotate essentially your Tetris piece. Is kind of what it reminds me of. And then on the cards, there's 6 spots in this grid. There will be
Oh, that's right. These are
3 and 3, and they can by marker.
screw that marker.
They can cross things, whatever. So you're placing them. I'm yellow. I place my marker down like that, and then this guy says I can place one here. Cool. I covered up 1 coin. I get a coin.
Okay.
Coins are later. When a thing gets full with 6 markers from any combination of people, whoever has the most gets to claim that tile. And then when you claim that tile, you flip it over and you get another guy.
Yep.
So you have another option.
So you've explored a region and you've recruited a person.
Yep, new card comes out. That's a starting guy, so that doesn't work. Boom. And then, now there's some things that can happen. One, maybe 2 players have a tie, or 3 players could possibly have a tie. That's where the coins come in. You get an in-order bid. I bid 3 coins. Next person's like, nope, I bid 4. Next guy's like, I only have 1 coin, so I'm out. The guy who bid the most wins that card.
And do you know what's on the other side of the card at that time?
You do, because when it's out, so there's 2 things going on. One, the game ends when someone gets their 10th card and you start with 3. So the game will end, then you count up your victory points, which are on here. And also on this side shows you what you're going to get.
Okay.
Some of the cards that are worth more points seem to have less victory point, or
Less
of power, and the cheaper ones they'll cover more space. They also have these blank squares which cost coins to use, so it's 2 coins for every time you want to use a blank space, but you don't have to use it. There's a couple other rules in there that I'm not going to super go over, and then there's some advanced rules which are great, which add artifacts and a stacking mechanic, where if there's someone, like normally when you place, if say I had a piece that went like in these 3 spots, I would just place here and here and not here because someone's already gone there.
Sure.
But you can play a stacking version where I could actually place up to 1 cube on top of that guy, and now I own this space. And then no one, since I'm the second, you can only go up to 2, so no one can take that.
Sure.
So it's kind of you're not safe the first time you place. And I think that's a really cool variation.
So what are these tiles for?
Those are your artifacts. You can actually acquire these throughout the game, and they will give you additional powers throughout the game. and they're all explained in the
Is
back
it
of the
just like a
book.
marketplace you can buy them from with your coins that you've been generating?
Yeah, so this one costs 9. It's really good, and it allows you to do whatever effect. It's also worth victory points at the end of the game. It's just something to add on to the game, which I see a lot of games are doing now. Here's our base game. Instead of just throwing this mega complex game out there, we're going to show you the base mechanics and then add some more to it.
Yeah, I mean, this seems very much like a
4-player.
simpler version of kind of a lot of the same themes that he likes to play with.
Yeah.
The same really great art style.
Yeah, lots of really big mustaches in here, if you can see. You got,
Mustaches and inexplicable aliens.
You got massive mustaches. And then, like, flavor art, Trenton, the fisher, was smashing seashells. You found him, you know what I mean? And then you read a little thing.
What's this?
Gorgeous.
There's no grid on
The
this one.
flags, that's the starting character. So if
Okay.
they have a flag, he loves flags a lot. So if you're blue, you get the 3 villagers with the 3 blue flags and put them in front of you. That's just to distinguish. They have no grid on their back.
Got it.
Oh, the other thing you do, excuse me, just before we go on, is when you use a character, you have to actually flip that character over. Once you've used all your characters, you get a free action to flip them all back over.
Got it.
If you want to flip them over early, you can actually pay 1 gold for every character that's left face up, and then flip all your guys over. And that's how you refresh your actions, basically.
Cool.
Super simple game with a lot of depth and replayability. I believe the spite factor would increase playing with some of the advanced rules. Oh, I wanted that artifact, or you took that tile.
But even so, it sounds like the player interaction, unless you do the thing where you can take over someone's territory, is limited to taking spots that they wanted.
Yes. Well, because you can start out, a new card comes up, it's my turn, and I put down 3 things. I already have the majority. Now, someone can time me and we can go to a bid war, but it becomes a game of like, okay, this dude has 7 cards and we're only at 4.
Sure.
So we need to make sure that guy's not getting any cards. So it kind of, pushes you to work together a little bit to keep someone from just steamrolling you guys.
Sure.
Even though it's not a cooperative game.
Okay.
It's kind of cool. It's really well designed and solid. I didn't catch flaws in the rules. I mean, it's so simple, but great.
Great. Awesome.
That one can probably stay on the table.
Okay. That one you'll permit to stay.
I'm serious. Like, this game was fantastic.
Great.
I recommend it.
Is that going to be your top pick for the week?
No.
No, it's going
But
to
it's
get
up there.
beaten out.
I actually.
So we're not going to spoil, but it's not your final pick.
Oh man.
Yeah. See, this is the tough choice.
I actually got to play a lot of these games this time, and I liked them all.
It's a horrible, horrible situation to have to deal with.
Look, I wanted to wait for last for this game, but let's just get into Yggdrasil Chronicles.
Okay. All right.
I will
you're
tell
just
you,
too excited.
I don't know everything about this game yet. I did
Okay.
as much research as I could, and I put together the board. Now
Yep,
you
go
might
ahead.
say, "Oh, the board.
Wow, there's a lot of stuff in here.
That's hard." If you haven't seen this game yet, this is the board. More intense than Everdell. This piece even rotates. Yay! This board is the world tree of Norse mythology. It contains the 9 realms with Midgard and Muspelheim and Alfheim and just all those things. However you want to pronounce them.
It is also it is also probably worth noting that despite the fact that you've built this board, this box is still pretty much full of stuff.
Yeah, I didn't punch out everything due to the fact that there's a lot of components in here. This is a pretty heavy game, a little bit of action taking sort of thing, where every world, like Midgard, Valhalla, whatever, every single thing has a different action where maybe you're recruiting elves or humans, or there's dwarves, they do something, there's, I don't know, all the worlds, and they do things. I really don't have time to go through every single thing in this game because there's so much, but it is, again, another cooperative game, heavily themed in the Norse world, and you're trying to save all the worlds in the world tree from the enemies. You play a god, you're Thor, Odin, Freya, all those people, and you're trying to stop, Loki, all the villains from just setting this tree on fire and burning it down. The timer in the game is actually Nidhogg, the giant world serpent guy. He's moving along your little adventure book here. If you're playing the base game, you have an easy game and a hard game. So Nidhogg actually moves along these symbols. Their symbols mean something of how, when he'll move and stuff like that. And then if he gets to the end, you've won. That's how you win. That's the only way you win. You can actually lose in multiple ways, where it's like if the enemies, you're getting enemies out every turn. If they can't do their action, then you lose. Or if they succeed in destroying the tree, you lose. So there's more ways to lose than there are to win, which is pretty standard in co-op games. There's a ton of pieces and meeples that will go on here. And
So I'm assuming these are the enemies or something like that?
yeah, you got like fire giants.
Because they are all adorable. I don't know how much this is getting across, but like they are all distinct from each other and weird as hell.
Yeah, and they'll go on your tree. Moving from world to world is a thing. Like turning the tree is an action. There's all kinds of actions you can do that would take an entire show to go over this whole game.
Yeah, so you are co-op. The gods trying to defend the world tree from all these different enemies.
Yes.
And that's
They're
just
defending
where
the 9 realms.
Okay.
Obviously.
Great. So can you summarize what the actual actions you'd be taking would be, other than playing with the cool components?
So, like I said, each of the 9 spots is an action that will do something unique.
Is there any game that this is like?
Oh man, probably, but never to this extent, I would say. I'm sure there's something out there, but off the top of my head,
when you say
pops
each
out.
of the spaces is an action,
Yeah.
so like is it kind of worker placement, but
So that's
on
what
a
I
3D
initially
tree?
thought, but it's just you just have your one guy. So if your god is your work, well, you can recruit guys, I suppose, to help you, but it's, I would say, low worker placement, more action taking than worker placement.
Okay.
But that kind of feels similar, but it's not like I have 5 workers and I'm going to do this many things. It's more like, hey man, we're on the same team. I'm going to do this so that you can set up for your turn. And if we don't do this, Loki's going to get to here. Like one guy has to climb the tree. If you let him get to the top, you're screwed. So you're trying to keep people at bay. And work together. And because you have so many things you can do, each one is going to affect the next player's turn in the way that, hey man, we're trying to keep this guy down. So if you do this, because you want to, it's not going to benefit the rest of the game, I guess.
Okay.
So you have to think about it. And then if you've beaten the game on, say, easy and hard, and you're like, I want more of a story-driven mode, this book actually has a ton of scenarios in it that are multi-paged. Like the very first one is Baldur's Murder. So you're actually going through a story. And
does the story connect from adventure to adventure?
I think they're different adventures, but they're multi-paged. And you can see that there's, okay, let's finish this. And then we went to the next page. And then here's the next part of that adventure. So it's kind of like a bunch of little mini campaigns. I think they call them sagas or something like that.
And it looks like there's a
Like a
cheat here that
scorecard
kind of,
thing.
well, it has XP on it. Do you end up improving your
that's-
character
maybe that's
over
your
time?
character. Yeah, I didn't get
think
as
so.
far into that, but that's exactly what that looks like. You
Yeah.
get experience.
I mean, it looks like
must be
almost
from
like a
the
roll and
saga.
write sheet, but it sounds like you can kind of take the characters here who are like, Tyr and Thor, Odin, Heimdall, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Frigg,
All the good
Freya. So it looks like you might be able to improve them over time. Interesting.
That's probably what that is. Yeah, and that
Looks like they have basic and advanced versions, I suspect, as well. There's a whole lot.
I would
going on in this
imagine. Like
game.
I said, like there is so much to go through that it's like we just got this game in like yesterday. So otherwise, I would have been like, yeah, let's play this. This looks fantastic. I mean, how can you not? You can actually glue some of the pieces on, but be careful. Putting this together is a little difficult because each one of these clips does line up with the art, which helped, but it's a little difficult to put together. So don't just start gluing things together. Put it together, be like, that is correct. Now there's certain pieces I can glue down, but the tree, you actually have to unassemble every time. It's pretty easy to put together. It's just a few pieces. But you can like glue the actual board pieces down that are on here, but you don't want to glue the tree together unless you're like, I'm never putting this game back in the box.
Sure.
And do not glue this down because it needs to rotate.
What does rotating it do? Do you know?
I believe it. Well, I'm assuming it's for movement, and I'm assuming because you can take an action to rotate the tree. So
It must have something to do with what's above or below.
I'm
it.
assuming it's because the realms must line up, something like that.
Wow. Well, yep. There's definitely a whole lot going on here.
Cool factor is like a 10.
Yep. Like if you want a board game toy based off of Norse mythology, then it seems like this is going to be
3D
perfect.
board, you know. That's like the next level.
If you saw Everdell, but we're like, yeah, I want more Norsemen.
The Everdell board is cool, but doesn't really seem to affect the game too much. It doesn't have to be.
I think you just love the fact this one rotates.
It's super cool. I don't know. It's just for me. I love it. I'm definitely playing this game. But yeah, you guys should too.
Awesome.
And if you're a nut like me, you can get miniatures and add those in.
Yeah, 4D chess. This is definitely Norse 4D chess.
Oh crap, this goes in there too.
Oh, no, too late.
Too late. There we go.
All right.
Did it.
All right.
All
So
right.
that's Yggdrasil Chronicles.
We will
What's next?
go next. Okay, next, let's do something a little lighter. Let's do this one actually.
Okay.
Cover
Your Kingdom.
This was a Kickstarter game, and the company Grandpa Beck's Games is a local company, but they definitely have national recognition. They sell on Amazon. They have about 8 titles, I believe. Maybe you've played Cover Your Assets. This is like an upgraded version of that game.
Okay.
With a fantasy theme and just literally riddled with puns.
Yep. So we have Smogdor,
Yep. These are the kingdoms you can pick from,
Scamelot,
which are all symmetrical.
Yarnia, Matlantis, Dog Snorts.
Hogwarts,
Oh, okay. Griddlemirth.
Middle Earth.
Okay.
Yep.
That's Fantasia.
Yep. Stablehaven, I'm not sure.
Stablehaven?
I don't know what that is.
All right. Well, one stumped us.
So
So I think this is clearly setting the tone for
maybe
the
someone
adventure we're going to
in
have.
chat knows what Stablehaven is a reference to.
Okay.
This game has. We'll start with just the easiest thing, and then I'll note the other stuff.
Hey, it's a little crown.
It is a brutal game.
Well, okay.
So let's say each of us have 6 cards.
Yep.
You're trying to get matches.
Like a set collection kind of thing?
It's kind of set. It's like you're trying to get pairs. These are your kingdoms. You have a mountain kingdom and a lowlands kingdom, highlands, lowlands. And say I have a pair of pixies in my hand. I need a pair. I can play them down. Now they're a clan.
Okay.
On your turn, say you have a pixie in your hand, you can play that pixie. Like no one's hand would ever be this big, but just
Sure.
for those examples.
Sure.
You can take one pixie out of your hand, play it down, say I want to recruit your clan.
Okay.
So you play your pixie down.
Yep.
If I have a pixie or a wild card, I can defend.
Okay.
Now, oh, I don't have a pixie. Okay. So now this clan's like, yeah, your kingdom is better.
Okay.
We're going to go to your kingdom.
Okay.
And now we're living there. Now you get up to 2 actions on your turn, and you must take 1. So the reason it's cover your kingdom is because say you're like, okay, I stole those pixies. Now I want another clan. So say you have 2 more pixies or anything else, like these Vulcans right here.
Yep.
You can play them down, and the next one goes this way.
A Volkent.
Vulcant.
Like that?
Yeah, so you have to play 2.
Yep.
And you can either play 2 from your hand, or if there will be a discard pile, you can take, if the top card is a card you can use, you can actually take that to make that pair.
Okay.
You can also play a card straight from your hand as an action. That's the same clan. You can start a new clan of the same thing and place it this way. And the reason you're doing this is because each one of these is a clan. So say I have a Vulcant and I want to steal, I can do that. Yay, I stole your top card. But I can't steal the pixies
Because there's the Volkents on
because
top.
the Vulcans are on top covering
Okay.
them. So until they've been removed, you can't do that.
Okay.
There are a bunch of action cards that allow you to do things like move a clan from the top to the bottom, or just remove an entire clan from the game, stuff like that. Now, that's all fun and games. That's super easy. What this game gets crazy is there's like these wild cards in here. This one's worth 40 points. It counts as 2 guys when trying to defend. You can also, I only have 1 Vulcant, but I can play the Spydra because it's a wild, and that's a clan. Now instead of being worth 10 points, that's worth 45. You could get multiple Spydras in there, a couple Cerber, Russell Terriers, whatever they're called. All these crazy puns. You got Cyclops, which is he's very emo. Things like that. Anyway, you can get these clans that are all of a sudden worth 200 points. And
then someone could steal them.
yeah, I had a war was like back and forth. So someone's like, you can't, what was it like, I want to steal your Vulcant. And so he plays a Vulcan, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to play a Spydra. That counts as 2. So and then he'll play 2 more Vulcans. So I'm like, shoot, I'll play another Spydra. And he's like, I'll play a Spydra, or whatever. It's back and forth.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, he tried to steal 15 points, and it turned into like 150 points. And I lost it. And I'm like, dang it. And then the next guy.
High spite level.
High spite level. Then the next guy is like, cool, well, I have one Vulcant, and I'm going to take that whole entire pile because now you've played all your cards. And now that's mine. And so there is actually a 2-player version, which I'm not going to get into. But the game's recommended to be played with like 4+.
Sure. So that things can go around the table real fast.
Phenomenal.
Very chaotic.
Like the group I played with, the guy who was in last the entire game, kind of just sat around and let everyone fight, and then he snuck in. No one can defend their Peg Legacy, no one can defend their Unicorn, and he just stole all the things. We all ended up with like 200-something points. He ended up with 500+ points. And I was like, wow, we were making fun of you the whole game. Your kingdom is weak, and he ended up winning the game.
Sweet. So it sounds like
is
it's
nuts.
basically set collection, but with lots of stealing from other players.
And those set collections can just snowball. So you want to get more clans on top of them to protect them. But even then, they may not be safe. And most guys either go in the highlands or the lowlands. Some guys can do both. Those guys are super valuable. Then there's actions that you can take. Hypnogryph lets you take 3 random cards from a player and then give them 3 creatures back. Just insane. Like I said, there's also a 2-player version. There's a backside that allows you to cover your constellations. So the first time you play a clan, you get to uncover that, which will get you more points at the end of the game. And that'll vary depending on how many players you have. Plays up to 8. Lots of games don't do that. This game does that. I actually love this game.
So it seems like it's very lighthearted theme, very fast gameplay, cutthroat and chaotic, but pretty simple, straightforward.
Yeah, and then tons of flavor. So, and what I mean is when it's not your turn, you're kind of just looking at your cards like, oh, this unicorn has a toilet paper roll with toilet paper on it for his horn. This one has a plunger. You know, like the art will just slightly vary, and they'll have different quotes on there.
I noticed that one of the Vulcants was not appearing on their card.
He's invisible.
And there's just a note that he's wearing an invisibility ring.
Yeah, so he's like a combination between like a Star Trek and Lord of the Rings sort of thing.
A Vulcant.
Yeah. And I know. And he talks about his little friend in one who's actually this little Star Trek-y hobbit guy. You know, have you seen my little yellow friend or whatever? I doubt you can see, these are so small. All the dogs have.
So it's just this game is ridiculous, silly,
ridiculous,
fast and chaotic.
Absolutely. And I'll let you find all the secrets for yourself. There's a ton of secrets on these cards that don't make sense, and then you're like, oh, what? It's pretty cool. Some of the cards actually make flip books. It's nuts. Like, cheap game. We sell this game. Like I said, Grandpa Beck's game is local. I'm sure they're in other stores. You can probably find them on Amazon if you're not local. But seriously, get your hands on this game. This is that game that you can play with anybody. You know what I mean? Like, if you're like, Uno is boring. We've played that a million times. What's that next game that I can play with a lot of people and just have fun? This is that game.
Great.
I can't stress
So
enough.
if like the comedy of Exploding Kittens is maybe not your style, this
Yeah,
could
and
fit in a similar
completely
thing?
family friendly. Nothing like
Too
off
raunchy?
humor, off color humor. It's not raunchy. It's just cute and adorable and a lot of fun. And it's full of puns, which are horrible but hilarious.
Yep. I think we saw some of those there in the art.
Yeah.
All right. What do you want to do next?
Let's do the new Azul.
I know a lot of people are excited about this one.
Pretty game, Summer Pavilion. So they keep. This is the 3rd iteration of Azul.
Was the other one a full game, or was it just an expansion?
They're all full games. So what they all do is they all use the same drafting mechanic, where you have these little circular factories, these things here. They'll have
rondelles.
Yeah, they'll have tiles on them that you can draft. You can only take one of each color.
Is this a component or just for
Yeah,
an
it
expansion?
actually is a component.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
I wasn't sure if that was just a spacer for.
No, Big Ben is actually where you discard tiles.
Oh, okay.
So this game's a little more ruthless in the negative points.
Okay.
And you're trying to. Everyone has their own board. They're trying to complete these stars, and they have numbers on them. So the numbers are like, well, when you place your first orange, you only have to place 1 tile. You're good. The next one you have to place 2. Or you place 1 and then you have to discard a tile. So, and it has to be of that color or of the wild. There is a middle board here that shows you on what round over the 6 rounds, what color's wild for each round.
Yep.
That's your scoring track.
Okay.
That's how much things are worth, all that stuff. So that's going to be in the middle or something like that. You are going through and trying. You also have your middle star, which is
Well, also
one of
like
each color.
to show people maybe who haven't played, you're going to have these rondels that are out in the middle, like here, and there's going to be a couple tiles on it. You're going to take them, and then you are going to try to fill out these patterns on your board. Right?
Oh, have you played this, or you just?
I have not played this,
doing it sort of correctly.
Yeah, I mean, like, but that's how like normal. I played the previous version of Azul.
Good.
I haven't played this one at all. But like a lot of the strategic power of the game is figuring out how you fill these things out based on the limitations you have, and then what tiles to take so that you get the tiles you want, but you don't leave your opponent open to grab the tiles they want.
Right, which can be difficult because there's the whole drafting phase, and then there's the let's go around and place our tiles phase.
Yep.
And determining which tiles you're going to place, because you're going to end up discarding a lot. And you also don't have to go in order. You don't have to start with one.
Sure.
But you're also getting more points. So the first time you play a tile down, when you score, that's worth 1. Second time it's going to be worth 2, 3, and so on. So the more you get, the more they're worth. And at the end of the game, the farther you got, the more they're worth. There's a bunch of cool little scoring mechanics. There's also hey, this one requires me to use 4. To put one here, I have to get rid of 4 blue tiles. So I only have 3. I can't do that action. But say yellow's wild and you have some yellows, so you can play 1 blue, drop 2 blue tiles in here and a yellow because they're wild, and you're discarding tiles. That's what this is for. And it makes a fun little noise when you drop them in there.
Well, yeah, I mean one of the key things of Azul is the tiles were just so solid. Like they're not cardboard chits; they're actual plastic tiles.
They're legit. They're like mahjong-esque quality, I suppose.
Yeah, like a lot of people really love Azul for a number of those. It's very simple, but has a lot of strategy to it, and the components were really good. So for somebody who has Azul, because it was a hugely popular game, what is the distinction here? Why would they want to go to this?
To do some history, Azul came out, massive hit, won awards, won like Game of the Year. Azul Centric came out, a lot of mixed reviews. People were like, got a little too complex for me. Or I loved it, whatever. You know, it wasn't a hit for everyone. This one came out and, okay, now we're back to what Azul does best with a twist. It's not, like the way you score is different. It's more about creating these cool looking flower things. And there are also combos that you can set up in this game that you can find out for yourself, where things will play off each other. There are a bunch of other squares on here that I'm not going to describe because they do special things. You have your middle star that you're trying to get one of each color on, and there's just a lot you can do. It's not just, oh, I got 5 reds, I'll put 5 reds down. It's so much more than that. And so this game has actually been, this is like, if you liked the first Azul, you will most likely love this one as well. And a lot of people are saying it's just as good, if not even a little bit better than the first Azul. So, I mean, if you're into tile collecting and placement, stuff like that, drafting, it's going to be up your alley. This we anticipate to be a really hot game for this holiday season. It's like, hey, I know this guy likes board games, but I don't know what type of board games he likes. Well, everyone likes Azul.
Well, yeah, Azul was a huge hit. And like, it also seems like if you know somebody who wants to get into board games and hasn't gotten a bunch yet, Azul provides a pretty nice ramp into it.
Hey, I've only played Monopoly, Chutes and Ladders. What's one of the games I should get into? Catan and this. And so, like, look, if anyone knows me, I mostly like strategic, heavy miniature games. And
you wouldn't say.
I played Azul. I know, right? Which I did bring a miniatures game. Yay! So, anyway, I don't want to spend a ton of time on this. Like, seriously, come demo it. We have all these games on demo at Zulu's. Come play it. You're going to love it. It's not expensive. It's Azul.
How much is this version of Azul?
They're all $40 range, so $39.99, around that range.
For the quality of the components you get, that's really hard to beat.
Exactly, and that's what a lot of games come down to, is their component price. And Azul's been consistent. All the boxes are the same. They're all the same price, and they're all worth that price. They're not like, hey, we just made this one $40 to keep it consistent. No, you're getting components that make sense for that price. Somehow that fits in there? Don't know.
I don't know.
I'll let you
this
figure
is
out
a
that
challenge. All right, which one do you want to do next?
We're going to go, since we were talking miniatures,
okay,
let's do the Marvel section of this game, of this thing. Okay, yay. Marvel Crisis Protocol just came out. Guess what? Atomic Mass Games, which is part of Asmodee's network now, they are also local. So if you live around here, come to Zulu's.
Wait, no, we're doing here.
We're doing events every Wednesday, and then I think we're going to move to Monday.
Okay.
But
So you're doing for this game in particular?
For this game in particular. So,
I'm going to move that just a
hey,
little bit.
I'm a big fan of miniatures games, or I want to play a miniatures
You're
game.
a big fan of plastic bag games, from what I can tell.
But, hey, Warhammer's too expensive for me. I don't want to collect 10,000 miniatures. And I love Marvel. So I want Captain America. I want Spider-Man. I want Ultron.
I want a car.
I want a car that I can actually throw. This is going to be a tabletop game that has one of the cheaper entrance ranges. So a lot of tabletop games are going to the, hey, we want to play around an hour on a 3x3 table, as opposed to, hey guys, come over and today we're going to play this miniature game. You can play 2-3 games in a few hours, as opposed to one over half your day.
Sure.
Quick setup, colorful art. These are the cards. They have both their versions, their injured version and their full power version.
But these minis are not pre-assembled.
No, I did actually glue all these together. They have a book that comes with an assembly guide that's pretty good, but you can also go online, and they have a lot of videos of how to assemble your miniatures and stuff like that as well. Some of the parts are really small, and it might be a little bit difficult, like, wait, is this the left arm or the right arm? Not sure. Those videos will help. Or you can just, hey, I'm not going to use glue first. I'm just going to make sure this is right. Okay, that fits well, because they fit exactly together. You can't, I don't think you can mess it up, even though I did mess up one light post. But if I were paying attention and not going straight to gluing, I wouldn't have made that mistake. Yeah. I don't know. I get a little glue happy.
Was this the light post you messed up?
Probably. Yeah, because one side is has a bigger circle than the other side, and I put it upside down. But whatever, still does its job. This game comes with 10 heroes and villains. You got Captain America, Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, Iron Man, Black Widow, and then you have bad guys. You have Red Skull, Crossbones, Baron Zemo, Ultron, and Dr. Octopus. So it's from all over. It's not just like, here's the Avengers game.
Sure.
And you got some Spider-Man villains in there, stuff like that. Mostly Avenger themed, but they are coming out with more. They have like Thor's coming out. They have Wakandans coming out. Hulk and MODOK are already out in expansions. Tons of stuff. They're going to be cranking out tons of stuff and tons of like promos and things you can get for coming and playing.
Yeah, lots of detail in these
All
too.
the bases are, all the bases are not just flat. They actually have like
Sculpted bases.
sculpted terrain on them, which I think is cool. And this game is $100 MSRP. You get 10 models and all the tokens and dice you need to play.
There's Spider-Man. I was wondering.
That's a great deal. Guess what? This game's going to be on sale.
So what does it play like, though?
So it's like a skirmish style, 5-on-5. You take turns activating a character back and forth.
So like there's no board in here. So
No.
it's not grid-based or anything
No,
like
you
that.
gotta make-
It's full-on
You get to make
traditional miniatures game, right?
Yeah, and usually they don't come with terrain, or they come with like cardboard terrain. This comes with a bunch of stuff, and they will have more terrain packs. So you have your lampposts. One of the cool things I like about this game is a lot of characters can throw something, and characters have a size from between 1 and 5. I think the biggest character right now is 4, and that's Hulk.
Sure.
So when he uses a action, some characters have a specific action where they can throw something. He can throw up to a size 4 object, which is about, this building is a 3, so even bigger than this building.
Sure.
He can throw it at someone and annihilate them because he's the Hulk.
It's not very often that you have a miniatures game that allows you to change the terrain.
Yeah, so like, oh, I got to go around this building. No, I'll just have Hulk throw it at someone's face, and then I can move through there.
Sure.
So you determine the order your guys are going to move in, and they generate power. And what power does is allows them to unlock their abilities. So this one costs 2. Black Widow's a little easier to do her power. She's not the strongest hero, or someone else may have something massive. While we're on the subject of Hulk, I should have brought my Hulk miniature. I'm stupid. But Hulk is great.
You were overwhelmed by the plethora of exciting options.
Sorry if I'm like, whew, I want to talk about everything. It's cool because these guys have like, here's my healthy form, I'm awesome. Here's my less awesome form, I flipped over. Hulk is just like, I have 1,000,000 hit points, and the more you hurt me, the stronger I get, which makes sense. So one of the things I really told the designers I was happy about is each character felt unique and not like each character kind of has a similar way where they do their action and they gain power.
Sure.
So they all kind of have a mechanism to build up their power, but other than that, they're like completely unique.
So it doesn't seem like this is as complicated as, say, Warhammer.
No.
Or is it just because I'm looking at the sheet and it's got bright colors?
It's really not.
Okay.
It's pretty easy. And what's great about these actually fit in 4x6 top loaders, and so you can have them protected and stuff like that, or you can laminate them whatever you want. But I highly recommend people to try this game out if you whether you play miniatures or not. If you've ever been interested at all, and you're a big fan of Marvel, like this is a good way to get into a miniatures
definitely
game.
recommend it for Marvel fans.
Yeah.
And pretty accessible
miniature
for people who are looking for a new miniature game to try
Yeah.
out.
And it's, like I said, pretty cheap to get into, although if you want to buy every single expansion that comes out, then it can get pretty hefty.
How long did it take you to put everything together?
I would say it takes, I like to watch TV while I assemble things.
Sure. So at a
good 2-3 hours.
a leisurely, casual
You
pace.
could watch about 3-4 Game of Thrones episodes while you're putting this together if you wanted. So it took a while, but the nice thing is that they fit. Like on one hand, it's like it's hard to customize them, is because the things have to go exact.
Yep.
Unless you really want to get in there and alter the
Sure.
model, but the sculpts are so cool and the poses are cool that I didn't feel like I needed to do that.
Well, also like
they're not just standing there.
you know, with a lot of miniatures games, you're fielding an army, and the
Yeah.
army, you'll have lots of units of the same type. You'll have a
Yes.
squad of guys. So you want to try to make each one unique.
So that's-
But in this case, you have just the heroes.
Yeah.
So there's not as much of a push for
That's
customization.
one thing I
suppose.
really like as a painter. When I have to paint, here's 10 guys. They're all the same paint scheme. By guy 2, I'm already bored. This one's like every hero is unique, and I can paint them the way that they are normally, or I can be like, you know what? I want to paint this Iron Man like Iron Patriot, or I want to make a War Machine. Screw it, I'm going to make a War Machine and just play them with the same stats. You can paint different costumes or your own thing on them. It doesn't matter. Hey, I don't want every Captain America on my table to be the same, so I'm going to make him a different color scheme. And you can really use your imagination to do whatever you want.
Awesome.
So, highly recommend it. Again, we will be playing this game on probably Mondays. If you want
Great.
to just come by. I don't have anything cool. I want to come by and see what it is. I love it. I'm going to buy it now.
Awesome. We'll put that over there.
So, and while we're on Marvel,
Okay.
let's just go to Marvel Champions.
Great.
Miniatures aren't my thing, but I like card games.
Okay.
So Fantasy Flight has developed what they call the living card game. They've had a number of successes and not so much successes with Lord of the Rings. They have Game of Thrones.
Elphaba, Netrunner.
Elphaba, Netrunner was a big one. Their Arkham Horror is one of their more popular of the cooperative ones, and this is another cooperative. Look at all these cooperative games I'm bringing. The world did not have enough cooperative games, so companies are actively developing them.
Awesome. My wife will be happy.
Yeah, so I don't want to spend $100. I don't like miniatures, but I like Marvel and I like card games. Boom, and I have friends to play with. We want to play a game in the Marvel universe that we get to basically thwart villains.
Sure.
They actually have a stat on there called thwart, which is great. So most card games are like, I played on this guy. I have this attack, you have this defense, and we're just doing that sort of thing back and forth.
Yep.
Which is great. This is a little different. You have your hero. Everyone has their hero. I have Spider-Man. You have Black Panther, whatever, and we have allies that you can play as you go. So you have actions and allies in your hand that you're playing out, and you're trying to defeat a villain. So say you have Rhino. Rhino has a scheme, and he's trying to complete something. So he's working on his objective and has all his minions out there, and you're trying to stop them from doing that. If he succeeds, you lose the game. If you stop him, then you all win together. Now, each hero also has an alter ego side. So if you flip it over, on one side you have Peter Parker, other side is Spider-Man. Now, on your turn, if you're in Spider-Man mode, you will actually get to fight the villains and try to defeat some of the minions or defeat Rhino, which Rhino will have a ton of health and will take some time. You're not going to kill him in one turn.
Yep.
Where if you're in Peter Parker mode, you're actually trying to stop Rhino from scheming. So Rhino will try to complete his objective.
Sure.
and
So there's
you
like a
do it that
combat
way.
and investigation side.
Yeah.
almost.
So it's kind of a little bit of both. There's a little bit of doing damage and a little bit of let's slow them down or try to stop them from completing their objective.
Sure.
And then highly comic book themed cards. They look very much out of an older style comic book from like the 60s. And it's in that realm. But yeah, it's definitely for you if you're a comic book. I don't
Well,
know.
so I guess the question I have is, there's Marvel Legendary, which
Yeah.
is a semi-co-op. Usually
Yeah.
you end up with a winner at the end, but through the
Right.
game you're playing co-op.
Right.
how does this compare to that? Because they're both, not randomized boosters. They're both co-op. You're building hero, in your deck or whatever. That one is more of a deck building one.
Yes.
So, but in play, how do they differ?
So that's the main difference. I think Marvel Legendary is a deck builder where, again, you're creating your deck as you play. Where this, you're gonna have a deck pre-made that you've put together.
And you can construct your own?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
I believe with expansions especially, that will come out. They have more expansions coming out.
This is the base set.
Yes.
If it's like the other Fantasy Flight ones, buying multiple base sets gives you more options to build your deck from and stuff like that.
And I'm not sure that you need to do that because sometimes it's like you can have a limit of 3 and this comes with 1. I'm not sure if they did that in this or you get the whole set because that was kind of annoying when you had to buy 3 of the base set to get the best card 3 times. Hopefully it doesn't do that. I'm not totally sure. But I do know that essentially this is more like I think Marvel Legendary has like a board you're playing on and there's a bunch of stuff. It's a little more traditional. It's a cooperative card game. We're all working together.
Okay.
And
so this is a little bit more, say, like Magic, more like a traditional kind of competitive card game.
Yeah.
In the way that you build the deck, the way that you come to the table.
Right.
But it is ultimately a cooperative game.
Yes. So similar, I would say, different enough to where if you like Marvel Legendary, this might be worth checking out.
Okay.
Or if you're like, I just want to get into something new, but I love Marvel. Like Marvel's kind of hot right now, so obviously they're going to make a lot of stuff for it.
Great.
So not gonna give a lot away. It's just cards, so I didn't open this one either.
So it's co-op. So not a whole lot of spite.
No.
And we've kind of
Unless
talked
someone
about.
screws up.
So people, fans of living card games, fans of Marvel, fans of co-op games should check it out.
And Fantasy Flight's great with releases and reprinting. So what happens if you've never played an LCG, they will come out with these packs that are usually around the $15, $20 range, and they have everything in them that you need. So you don't have to continue buying booster packs to try to get the cards you need. You get everything in that pack. Then sometimes these packs run out, and you're bummed. And you can go on eBay and buy them or whatever, or you can just wait and they will reprint them, which is what I love. It's not like I'm never going to have an opportunity to buy
one
this
and
again.
done.
It's not. They will reprint. As long as their games are active, they will continue reprinting their games.
Great.
You just have to wait for them to get printed sometimes.
Great. It sounds like Catan is the next choice.
Sure. Grab
so
it.
we're going to pull it from back here.
You can carry it. It's a hefty one.
Well, I will rise to the challenge.
So what I like
I'm
about
going to hide
Catan,
behind this box, I think.
You totally could. What I like about this game, I've played Catan probably more than any game out there.
A lot of us probably
And
have.
That's mostly because that was the first option of this new style. And so as much as people are kind of sick of Catan, you have to give it credit as it's kind of a gateway into this world.
It made the industry.
Now, you're going to need a lot of room if you want to put this thing together.
Well,
and I'm down with that.
Just some of it.
Sure. So this is your basic board. And there's multiple ways to set up this game, but there is a recommended way. Just like in Catan, here's the recommended way we set this up. This game uses mechanics of Catan, but is definitely its own game. And I believe the original Starfarers came out in like 99-ish. This is a redesigned, reimagined version.
So it's
of
not
that
just
game.
a reprint. It's a
not
new
just
version of it.
Yes.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff in
There's
here.
a trillion components in here, and if we had, again, this is another game that we could spend a whole show on. So with board setup, your mothership, which has little things in it. Where are those pieces? These pieces are what you get to randomly put around the board.
Sure.
Flip them over, they fit in, and they make these little planet clusters, right?
Sure.
So if you see there's a little cluster of planets. These are what your numbers are going to go on. We're trying to roll. We're the same thing in Catan. We're rolling, and everyone who has star bases on those things is going to collect those resources.
Sure.
So now you're seeing. Now, one thing is cool. One of the numbers will say like 2 and 11. So if you get a 2 or 11, you get it. So it makes it a little easier to get.
Sure.
They've also made the numbers bigger. So like the 8s are red. The 8s and 6s are red and large, where the 2 and 11 are smaller.
Yep.
So you can see just from
Kind of helps you gauge probabilities.
yeah, it's just visual, aesthetically, you can see, okay, this is less likely going to happen. But you get all these out here, and there's these weird symbols on them, like where these start with, these symbols are like, here's where you'll put these things. The symbols basically are where you'll put the tokens on them. I don't know where they're there. But you'll put triangle tokens on the triangle ones, and then you'll flip them over when you discover it.
Got it.
So that's how to determine just setup, basically.
So there's some exploration discovery going on.
Yeah, you're actually exploring this way, and everyone has their mothership, which you actually get to add components to, and then each one has a color dot on it, which is your color. The lid does come off the top of the rocket here. Hey-oh, mothership. And that's where how you put these little things in that I'm going to definitely lose. They are not candy. Do not eat them, but they definitely look delicious.
So then, like, this is a component you would stick on the side.
Yeah, it actually goes on the rocket, I think up here, or on the bottom, I believe. I can't remember, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yep, like that.
As you're adding to your mothership and stuff like
Okay.
that. And it's first to 15 points wins. You actually get to start with 4 points, much in like Catan, where you start with like some settlements and some roads and stuff. You start with your star base, and you can add onto that to make it better. You have a little rocket ship.
So it's got a modular board, and you're exploring the board and exposing it, and you have your spaceship that you're adding to as you go along.
Yeah.
But it still has that same feeling of Catan, where you have a couple tiles that you have spaces on, and when the number comes up, you get those resources.
So much like Azul, it's using mechanics from the original, but giving you a entirely new world and a new game. So it's not just like because there's like Star Trek Catan, and that's a little more like here's Catan with the Star Trek theme, and it has a couple differences. This has a ton of differences.
Because it also seems like there's all these encounters of some kind.
Yeah, there's like you can trade with people.
There's alien races.
Races,
those are the races you trade with.
Yeah, that's like an exchange rate. I can give you 2
crystals or something.
Whatever the crystals are for 1 of anything else. So it has that mechanic. You can also at any time. This is your bank. You can trade resources in 3. It even says on there 3 to 1, 3 to 1, stuff like that. There are a finite amount of resources. So if a resource is out, no one can get it. It does also have the thing where if you roll a 7, anyone with I believe 8 or more cards has to discard half rounded down.
Sure.
So if you have 8 cards, you're losing 4, and they're going back into the bank. Okay. So you can't just hold on to cards.
And it does. So these are really encounters. Like this one here, I just drew. If you encounter this, you can offer between 1 and 3 resources, or 0 and 3 resources.
Yes.
And a different thing occurs based on what you offered.
Yes, and you also another Catan mechanic is you can trade with other players, trade resources.
Yep.
It's just not sheep and wheat. It's I don't know, whatever, space crystals. and they can only trade with you, basically. If it's your turn, they can only trade with you. They can't trade with each other.
Okay.
So lots of the classic Catan mechanics in essentially a new game, a new world and stuff.
Great.
So
but
lots more to explore.
Yeah, it does seem like not just rethemed reskin Catan.
No, and I think that's what was really important to them designing it, was not to just make this feel like it's Catan with a space theme.
Great.
It's not Space Catan.
It's lots of
Same designer,
lots of toys, though. All right, you want to grab the components?
We get this put apart. I know I brought a lot, and there's not a lot of time, so
we're trying to get
we gotta cook. I'm trying so hard. I think we only actually have 2 games left, right?
It looks like.
So here, I want to jump into this one because this was a blast. You put this away.
All right.
I'll talk.
All right.
No.
I'll do the hard work.
Yeah, exactly. Worst guest. Last Bastion. I'll throw it up here, and then you can start pulling it out when you're ready.
Well, tell us about it.
Oh man, I did play this game, and
you seem real excited.
I was blown away at how fun it was. Let's just say that some cooperative games can be like it's co-op, but your action doesn't super affect. Like sometimes some things affect everyone else, but usually it's just like, okay, I failed, and whatever. Now it's your turn, right? We're all trying to work together to win, but whatever. This game was like the most I felt like I've had to work together since a game like maybe Pandemic, where if I fail on my action, maybe the next guy can attempt it, but realistically, I need to pick like high risk, high reward, right? Let's see. So if you pull this game out, it actually has a square bastion with 9 tiles in there that are randomly placed. Each tile has a different ability on it.
Okay.
On your turn, you can move and attack a monster or move and activate an ability. The abilities are super crucial to thwarting the enemies. So every turn, the Horde, which is like a stack of like 50 cards and a warlord guy. New monsters are going to come out, and they're going to get placed on either red, blue, yellow, or green. And each character will have a corresponding thing. So I'm the red guy. Now, which guy you do doesn't matter. You just put a little ring on him. I'm the blue guy. I get the blue ring. And I also get the blue board.
Does someone get to play the minecart?
The minecart is a trap. You actually get to explode monsters. It's great.
Okay.
So if I'm the blue guy, I have this board, and each board has one little difference on it, which we'll get to later. You are collecting monsters. So it's my turn. I draw a monster. I'm the red guy. I drew a blue monster. It goes on the blue guy's board, and I pick which spot it goes in.
Sure.
The spot corresponds to the Bastion level, so I may have to be at this location to fight this monster.
Sure.
Now what's cool is the corner, there will be facing this direction. So if there's a tile here and the red guy's here and there's a monster here and here, I can actually fight both those monsters.
Okay.
Which is fantastic. And we didn't realize that until about the game was half over. So,
Sounds like a little harder for you.
so we did lose, but man, it was fun.
This kind of reminds me of the co-op game that's the Hong Kong or Chinese spirit theme game.
I know there's Spirit Island, but I don't think that's Hong Kong.
No, it was older. You were.
Oh, is it like Ghost something?
Yeah, Ghost Stories.
Called? Ghost Stories,
Yeah. That is a similar like 3x3 grid. It was really hard.
Yeah.
You had to really coordinate where you were facing the monsters together.
Yeah.
Is it similar to that?
Probably. I haven't actually played. I know about the game, but I've never played it.
Okay.
But I do know that what I really liked about this game was you are actually working together. And so like there's a tile for each action, and it's like, okay, is it better for me to go here and heal my guy, my friend, or try to defeat this monster? Now if I defeat this monster, something, they can get overwhelming.
Yep.
Where you start where it's like, okay, there's one or two monsters on the board, they can quickly overwhelm you. And one of the cool things is if your monster board is full and a monster's drawn for you, which might not even be on your turn.
Yep.
Or no, once it gets to your turn, if your board is full, then you have to take this negative action instead of adding a monster.
Sure.
Which is like this one that makes you discard a card off the bottom.
Sure.
And guess what? If you run out of cards, you can lose. So if you're losing cards off the bottom, it seems like a good thing. Oh, cool, we're getting rid of monsters. No, it just gives you less time to win the game.
Sure.
Where the one I had is like if I had 3, I just took a wound. So my red board got piled up with monsters, not on my turn. It got to my turn. They didn't kill the monsters, so I took a wound. I only had 1 health left. I died before I even got to do anything.
Sure.
And you
That
can
sounds
actually,
great.
you can actually be revived once, but you come back with your beat up side, and you no longer have your unique hero power, which is also pretty cool. So,
So this sounds like one of the really hard co-op games.
Yeah, we played it on easy, and it was hard.
Yeah, Ghost Stories was infamous for being difficult.
Right, and there is multiple difficulties. So when you've beaten it, it actually says in the rulebook you will probably lose your first game, and that's mostly because you don't understand all the mechanics yet.
Sure.
The game itself is actually very easy. There's only 2 things you do on your turn: it's move and take an action, or move and fight a guy. Where fighting is super simple. If you've played a game like I don't know, Dragonfire, or what's the other one? I don't know. There's games where like monsters will have like symbols on them.
And you just roll the dice
5-minute
and match the
dungeon.
symbol.
Yeah, you need 3 yellows to kill this guy. Now there's things you can do to reduce that, and you can also pick up equipment tokens of each color, so you can discard equipment tokens to also add to that roll. But the combat is simple, but then the other thing that's really great about this game is each monster has 3 icons on them, 3 spots I should say. So if they have an icon here, this does something when it comes into play. The icon in the middle means they do something every time it's your turn and they're in your area. And then the other one is that this is what happens when they leave play. Sometimes that's negative, sometimes that's actually positive. Not every card will have
all 3.
All 3. Some will only have 1 or 2, and they will also be different. Like roll the corruption cube. Guess what? That's not a good thing.
Really?
You can actually get these horns, these horn tokens. They let you activate a tile from anywhere on the board instead of having to be there
So
in addition to your turn.
Yep. You just like blow the horn and make the tile
You
activate.
blow the horn, make it activate. There's, like I said, there's the minecart, which is a trap. So when a monster comes down, instantly defeated. There's a tile that lets you go there and take a damage to instantly defeat any monster on the board, which is super useful but also risky. And literally, like, your action, if you fail, it could end up killing someone else on your team,
Sure.
or whatever. So it's important to discuss together, like, hey, okay, on my turn, I'm going to go here, and then you'll do this, and I'll do that. And it could get to the point where if you're playing with someone who's played it a lot, they could end up saying,
Yeah, I was
you do
about
this,
to
you do
I was
that,
about to ask how the
which is
quarterbacking
unfortunate.
is.
But I really suggest play this game with people who have not played it or are also on your same level, or play this game with people who are all on the same level. Because yes, if I've played this game a million times, you don't want someone doing that, playing the game. But you can't play it by yourself too.
Well, so I mean, again, it sounds like this is the co-op game you get if you want the really, really hard co-op experience.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Because look, I mean, if you beat the game the first time, you're like, well, I played that game, I'm done.
Sure.
So, and then there's more to add to it. You can make it harder once you've gotten it. But seriously, really good game. I had a lot of fun with it. I don't get to play a lot of games, so when I do get to play games, thank you. I like when I get to play a game that I enjoy.
You don't get to play a lot of games?
No, I'm trying. I'm trying so hard. I think we only have one more game to get to.
I think so. Here, why don't you go put that over on your side?
Yeah.
And I will grab.
You grab it. It's
the
a
last
hefty one.
It is a hefty one.
This game is probably the one that I didn't get to play that I'm most looking forward to
And this is from Gray Fox, who they did Seven Ronin, which is a very, very, very good game.
They
That is a
also
huge ass
did,
board.
yeah, they did. I don't know if you want to lay it out or not, but they
It seems
did.
a little big.
And guess what? It's two-sided too. So there's two different ways. Well, I think it actually depends on player count or something like that. I don't remember. But this game is like a 5-course meal. You start to understand one thing, and then they're like, "Whoa, there's this. Here's more."
Well, there's a lot of tokens,
So,
a lot of dice.
Champions of Midgard is the first in the series. Now they've come out with Reavers of Midgard. Same world, completely different game.
I've heard
Same
a lot of
theme.
like Champions of Midgard has a lot of good press about it.
Yeah, and that's one of the worker placement thing. This is also in the worker placement theme, but you only really have one worker, and when you do an action, everyone. So you're like, that sounds really boring. Okay, I have one thing. You have your little boat, and you go somewhere, and then in order, the first player gets the most rewards, second player gets less rewards, and then third and fourth might not even get anything.
Okay.
It also changes depending on if there's 2, 3, or 4 people playing.
Sure.
The amount of rewards that we put out. There's a ton of different actions you can do on this board. First of all, you can see the artwork is just gorgeous, and I think you can see it anyway. Let's just
It
focus.
seems like this is a scale of a game that is difficult to express.
It really is, and so I don't want to go too deep into what they do, but everyone will have their ship, essentially, their longboat, and it has all these icons of what you can do on there, and where you add your artifacts, whatever. But some of the actions are on here, like raid villages, raid keeps, battle at sea, shows you what they cost to do that.
Sure.
And then you're basically just going around. There will be a ton of cards laid out here that refresh. You can see there's all these cards. So you'll have cards on here. That's how you acquire those cards, and then new cards will refresh, and they'll do actions. Like, this is a very heavy Euro game. I think it's like a 3.
So it's kind of like, it seems like you're moving around the map, choosing actions,
Yes.
building the engine that you're going to use to keep
Yes.
generating points.
And it's got this cool system where, like, there's times where you can choose a reward, or you can choose a better reward, but it also comes with these, like, threat tokens or something, and those are bad. So if you can't get rid of them, you can actually end up losing points later on in the game.
So you said that this is just like a sequel to Champions of Midgard?
I believe it's like in the same world.
But it's not the same game. It doesn't share mechanics.
No, it's not like Azul where it's like, hey,
Sure.
this is the next one. It's basically the same game with some new ideas. It's like, here's a completely new game. And this game was not designed originally to be in this world. It was actually designed to be a post-apocalyptic game.
Okay.
And then Gray
That's
Fox
quite
said,
a switch.
I know. And then Gray Fox said, hey, this game, make a few changes here. It will fit super well in this universe. So the designer took it, did that, came back, and they're like, yes, this is fantastic. So that's what I like about games, personally, is how do they choose the theme? How did you decide this should be this
Sure.
in this world? because any game, you could take a game and reskin it, and which you've seen a lot, I'm sure, if you play games. How they determine that this game should be this theme and stuff is really cool, and that could make or break a game. They could have made this game space themed and be like, you know what, it just didn't feel right. So I don't know, and it's heavily themed with Viking runes and Viking world everywhere.
Well, I mean, it's certainly well designed and produced. Like the cardboard is very thick.
Yeah.
The components are very nice.
Apparently, it took 5 years to develop this game.
Wow.
So
Well, especially if they had to change the theme.
it may take
updating
5 years
the
to learn
mechanics.
as well. I am not sure.
Probably not.
Like, seriously.
So, well, I mean, the rulebook isn't that thick.
No, but like, okay, so like most worker placement games, it's like you can take one action on your turn and do this. And you're like, that sounds easy. Oh, there's 9 million things I could do, and the rewards all do something different. So that's where the complexity lies.
Sure.
Is your first playthrough, you're probably going to be like, okay, it's my turn. I can do these 10 things, but I have no idea which one's the best. And that's what I think scares some people away from these games. But once you get into it and understand, I recommend when you're first time, like when you're reading the rules, just go over what everything does, and then kind of just play
Mess
around.
around with
Not
it.
to win, just to kind of understand the
See
game.
what it does, yeah.
Yeah.
So, if this is just, if mechanically this is not like Champions of Midgard,
No.
Do you know what game it would be similar to? Like
Man,
how
that's
would
a
how
good
would you
question.
tell whether this is going to be up your alley?
For you, I would just say this is for you if you are kind of a hardcore gamer. This is not like, hey, this is my family game. This is like, I like something with a challenge and lots of thinking
Sure.
and decisions. One of the mechanics I will go over really quick is this dice mechanic. There are 3 colors of dice. Each basically represents a different clan. And they have a lot of the same symbols, but each clan will have their own symbol on it, which only that clan can do.
Sure. And these
So-
these are not dice for players. There's not a blue
No,
player.
no.
It's that each of the players
Everyone.
is going to be working
So
with
they'll
these
actually
3
go
clans.
on your board where you can see where they go. These are the workers you are employing.
Sure.
And you'll have a leader
So it's
card as
kind of
well.
like dice placement then.
Yeah, so you'll acquire the dice, and then you'll use those dice to take a lot of actions and stuff like that. Like, I need shields to get this, so you'll place those where you need.
Sure.
So as you go through the game, and you're like, I need hammers to do this action, or I need treasure chests or whatever, you'll collect these guys. And there's so many different components in here that it's like, to go through it all in one sitting would be impossible.
Yeah, I mean that's probably how they took the worker placement. When you have a million options,
Yeah.
but if each of those options requires certain resources effectively to trigger, the dice
Right.
become each turn you are limited on what you can do because you
Right.
don't have the resources to go do that action.
That is true. So that will kind of guide you.
Yeah, I mean that's how you kind of usually manage that level of options.
But I really just like that this game could slow down really easily, but because everyone's involved on everyone's turn,
Sure.
I really like when games do that. And it's
Okay.
not just like,
So how is everyone involved in other people's turns?
because, so like I said, like there's a lot of actions that it'll have 4 spots. It'll say 1, 2, 3, 4. And the first person gets the most rewards.
Oh, okay. So
second person will get less.
It's not that the what happens on other people's turns
No.
will immediately affect me. It just changes my options.
No,
when
and
it's
it
my
won't
turn. Got
always
it.
affect you. You could be turn 4, or you could be player 4 in that round, and nothing happens to you. So, but it does give enough. You also have to look at like, look, I'm next to this guy, so if I do this action, he is going to get some kind of a bonus.
That gives you kind of an idea of what is on that board.
Yeah, the board's the size of a refrigerator, man.
A ton of dice, a huge board, a million actions to take, and the dice kind of guide you to what actions you're going to be able to do on any given turn.
And I think this game is 50 or 60 for the amount of components you get. I'm surprised they got all that in there at that price.
Javion would be happy. There's a lot of dice, so
I like dice.
Javion's here. And
Why wouldn't you like
you and he would probably get along pretty well.
Yeah, I've met him before.
Great. So, is that it? Is that everything?
That is somehow everything. I don't know where we're at in time, but seriously,
I think we managed to survive our week.
like, there's got to be a game in here for you somewhere.
Sounds like there's multiple. So we never. What was your top pick?
Oh, my top pick?
Because what it was.
Well-
Rome was the one you said was great, but not your top pick.
Oh, man, it's up there. I really had a lot of fun playing this last
Bastion, really?
I'm not going to say it's the best game here.
No. What
but
is your favorite
I
pick?
only Out of the ones I played, at heart it would be this because
Okay.
I love Marvel and
All right,
miniatures.
all right.
But if I were to recommend one, I would say this, just because I think there's not a lot of good co-op games out there, or there's not a lot of co-op games out there in general. And as I played through this game, I kept being like, wow, that's such a great thing. Like, to go back to that game for a second, there's this mechanic where there's these corruption tokens, and you're constantly trying to keep them from coming on the board.
Yep.
Because if you get 3 of them on the board, you instantly lose.
Sure.
And that mechanic alone drove our decision making of, I want to do this. However, if I don't stop this corruption token from coming out, I'm not going to have a chance to. We're done.
Yep.
So it stopped you from being able to do what you wanted to do in a good way, and made you change your mind. And it's like, okay, do I stop? Do I try to kill the monster that's very tough, that's creating these tokens, or do I do this action which will just delay it for 1 turn, or do I say, you know what, he's too hard for me to kill, I'm just gonna get rid of this corruption token instead. So,
Well, sounds like you
Really
should
tough.
check out Ghost Stories, because it sounds
Apparently.
like that game has a lot of similarities. So
Yeah.
I'd recommend checking that one out.
I think I should.
All right.
So,
So that is
That's it.
what has come out recently. Again, a whole lot of very deep, heavy, large boxed games here.
yeah.
We talked about some of the stuff that you'll have for Black Friday.
Yeah.
We'll go over that
Please come
again
by.
on Black Friday. And thanks again for coming out and joining us.
I appreciate it, and thank you guys so much for watching. I love coming on here, and I'll see you guys again soon.
Great. Well, thanks to everybody for watching. Thank you to Chaldea Studios for giving us the space to stream from. We have Brothers Murph Monday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific. We have Fireside with Peter Atkinson, where he talks with people who were there at the founding of Wizards of the Coast and the creation of magic. That's on Wednesdays at noon. And then Fridays at 11 a.m. Pacific, we have the Table Takes, where we talk about the news of the week. And then followed around 12:30-ish Pacific, we have New Release Rundown, where a local store representative comes out, brings some games they were excited about over the past week, and we talk through them and try to let you know what you might be interested in. So, if anything here appealed to you, go stop by your local store, talk to them, ask them about it.
Yeah.
They will probably be able to give you a demo, maybe give you a better look at it, and then you can decide if you want to pick it up. Thank you very much, everybody. Hopefully we will see you next time, and hopefully we'll see you again before too long.
That'd be great.
Happy holidays.